君の名前
Welcome. Scott here. Here is a quick boss guide for the upcoming SHINRYU event, Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 13. Before I proceed further, here is a quick overview on how Transcendence works. For any Transcendence stages, your party will get boosted stats if you bring a burst unit for the fight. To access Dimensions and Transcendence, you need to clear up to Tier 5 of Dimensions and Entropy. There are 3 stages that you need to clear for the fight. There are 2 crucibles that you need to clear first before you can access the main gate. The main gate will require you to bring only the characters that you have used for the crucibles. You can't use any of the characters locked to the tier for other tiers unless you unlock them. Firstly, let's break down the requirements of the crucibles. All Lufania orbs are fatal and they are mechanics that you should watch out for this Transcendence fight. Do take note that Lufania auras for crucibles are the standard versions and they are not the restrictive ones that you face in the plus versions. For the left crucible or crucible 1, you will be fighting 2 Blanc Clac. These bosses has 20 million HP each. The turn requirements are 60 and you need to bring a black crystal unit. The orb requires you to deal dark elemental brave damage. For the right crucible or crucible 2, you will be fighting 2 guard scorpion, which has 20 million HP each. The turn requirement is also 60 and you need to bring a blue crystal unit. The orb requires you to launch the bosses. Upon clearing both crucibles, you will be able to access the main reckoning stage or the middle gate. You will be fighting a new enemy type, Strange Head. It is a 3-wave fight where you fight 3 in the first wave, 2 in the second wave and 1 in the final wave. The fight is a SHINRYU level fight. I will discuss more on the force mechanics when I am going through the fight itself. The Strange Head have 15 million HP each in wave 1, 50 million each in wave 2 and 120 million HP in the final wave. The turn requirement for the fight is 100 and the HP requirements is 10,000. Before I continue further, here is a small disclaimer clause for the video. The guide is written based on the time that the stage was released for the Japanese version. Please do note that it is possible that the boss fight mechanics might differ when the actual event is released in global. Let's cover on the mechanics of the first crucible. You need to bring a black crystal unit for this stage. To meet the orb conditions, you just need simply do dark elemental brave damage to the bosses. Examples of black crystal units that can reliably uptick the orb are Dark Knight Cecil, Vivi, Cice, Galbez, Leon, Shantato. Non-black crystal units that deal dark elemental damage is Xanda. Although he doesn't deal dark elemental damage, Machina is also a viable option for the fight. Firstly, let's cover the orb conditions. At the start of the fight, the orb will begin at the count of 15. It is a non-cancelable orb. The Lufania countdown ability is fatal. The orb will downtick by 1 per party action and downtick by 2 whenever the bosses take a turn. You will uptick the orb as long as you inflict dark elemental brave damage. Doing so will uptick the orb by 3. Now, I will briefly go through the fight mechanics. They will gain aura boosts at the 79% and 49% HP threshold. The boss has several basic attacks like Arrow, Thundaga and Trio Head. These attacks can chain in one action upon the boss activating Triple. Triple will be activated on the boss 4th turn. It will stay in triple mode for 3 turns before it will start doing 3 turns of single basic attacks before reactivating Triple again. If you have the FR of the following units, Dark Knight Cecil, Cice, and Machina, they can solo their crucible with a combination of Delay Call or Sid Rain's LDCA launch call with Chocobo Summon. You can tell that the fight is easy because I am unable to obtain any screenshot of triple activation for the fight. Now, let's cover the second crucible. For this crucible, you need to bring a blue crystal unit. You will be fighting 2 guard scorpion. Let's talk about the orb first. The orb will appear at the start of the fight and appears with the count of 15. the Lufania countdown ability is fatal. The orb will downtick by 1 per party action and downtick by 2 whenever the boss act. You can uptick by doing launch damage. You can consider bringing the following blue units for the fight: Cloud, Zeton, Jack Garland, Titus, Core, or 8. Zeton and Cloud have launch utility in their kit. Alternatively, you can bring launchers like Dark Knight Cecil, Kane, Noctis, Fang, or Sid Reigns. The boss has a couple of basic attacks and a recast ability Burst Laser, which is a Brave gain, AoE Brave plus HP guaranteed hit attack. At the 79% and 59% HP threshold, they will activate Machine Shift, where they will enter into Union mode, where they will become immune to delay from breaks. While in Union phase, they will use plus variant of the attacks. Do watch out for Foot Stomp plus, as it will dispel buff of the target followed by a single target Brave plus HP attack. To break the stance, you need to launch the boss with a launch skill or use a launch call. The fight can be solo with Jack Garland, Cloud, or Titus. With the 2 crucibles out of the way, let's focus on the main reckoning stage. You will be restricted to use 6 of the units that you used for the earlier crucible stages. Here is a quick overview of the fight. This is a 3-wave fight where the boss will getting stronger as you go to the next wave. In the first wave, you will fight 3 of them where they have 15 million HP each. In the second wave, you will fight 2 of them where they have 50 million HP each. In the third and final wave, you will fight 1 of them which has 120 million HP. They will behave slightly differently while in each individual wave. In the first wave, they will activate a 500k HP shield at the 49% HP threshold and revives any dead strange head. They will use Eliminate to destroy themselves once their HP drop below 40%. So, in order to get to wave 2, you need to eliminate all 3 of them. In the second wave, they enter in counter-offensive mode where they will counter any Brave damage with Counter Flatten. The counter mode will only be stopped if you deal force weakness damage. In the final wave, the boss will activate an aura that reduces your party HP damage by 80% along with 1 million Brave shield. You will be able to remove the HP damage reduction aura by dealing its force weakness. On the surface, the fight seems simple, but the issue is the force gauge properties. Throughout the fight, the force gauge will charge 7% faster when your party act and has 70% Brave resistance against all elements except for dark or non-elemental Brave damage. Due to the force gauge conditions, you most probably will see the boss activate the force time more than 1 time throughout the entire fight. Do note that the force gauge will reset back to 0 upon reaching the next wave. Its force ability will changes depending on the current HP of your character. If none of your characters has their HP below 50%, it will use Seismic Rock Slide Plus, which will buff wipe and KO your party. During its force time, its basic move will be converted to the plus variant, which are also KO attacks. They will become immune to KO. In other words, before they activate their force ability or during their force time, you need to have a character to have their HP below 50% to survive the force ability and the attacks during the force time. Before I continue to in-depth review of each individual wave, let's go through its basic moveset. It can use Countdown, which is a single target magic Brave attack. It will inflict a frame debuff called Countdown for 3 turns. Countdown is a frame doom debuff with 20% speed down effect. The debuff will trigger a break upon expiration. It can use Eerie Sound Wave, which is an AoE Brave attack that inflicts 2 debuffs, 100% initial Brave down for 3 turns and 1 turn Doom debuff. Doom debuff will trigger break upon expiration. Throughout the fight it will rotate between these 2 moves. If its Brave is high, it will do a HP attack with Lunge. Firstly, let's cover on the boss force gauge mechanics. As this is a Shinryu fight, the boss will also gain boost too as the force gauge build up. The charging speed will increase faster as the boss HP deplete. You can refer the table on the screen for more details. Throughout the fight, the boss will charge its force gauge faster by 7% when your party acts. It will also gain 70% brave damage resistance against all elements except for dark or non-elemental brave damage. Due to the aforementioned properties of its force gauge, the boss will uses its force ability a lot faster if you are not bringing any designated force charger. When the force gauge is maxed, it will unleash its force ability, Seismic Rock Slide, and activate its force time by 3. Depending on the current HP status of your party members, it will use a standard or plus variant of the attack. At the point when the boss uses the force ability, if you have a character whose HP is below 50%, the boss will use the standard variant, which is an AoE Brave plus HP attack. It will also grant the boss 50% speed up for 5 turns. At the point when the boss uses the force ability, if you don't have a character whose HP is below 50%, the boss will use Seismic Rock Slide, which will buff wipe and instant KO your party, thus ending the fight. When the force time is activated, you will see a red hue emitting from its force gauge. The boss will gain an enhancement where the boss will use the plus variant of its standard move set, Eerie Soundwave Plus, an AoE KO attack or Countdown Plus, and single target KO attack. The conditions trigger is the same as its force ability. To avoid them, you need to have a character in your party with less than 50% of their max HP. The boss also becomes immune to KO when the force time is active. The boss force weakness is dealing dark elemental melee brave damage. Using it at different waves will grant you different benefits. Dark Knight Cecil, Cice, and N across FR are current FR that meet the condition. Alternatively, you can also meet the force weakness condition by using a N across Call or Xanda LDCA when using a non-elemental melee FR. When dealing the force weakness in Wave 1, you don't get any special benefit. When dealing the force weakness in Wave 2, you will trigger eased off the offensive condition, which will result the boss to cancel its counter flatten mechanic. When dealing the force weakness in Wave 3, you will trigger the player party HP damage dealt restored, where you will remove the 80% HP damage down aura. Now in the subsequent slides, let's cover on the overview of the fight for each wave. In Wave 1, you will be fighting 3 strange heads at 15 million HP each. Like other Shinryu fights, the boss will gain stats boost at the start of the fight and 79% HP threshold. At the 49% HP threshold, they will activate the Summon Strange Head condition. The boss will revive any dead Strange Head and grants 2 framed buffs, 80% attack up and 80% defense up for 5 turns. It will also activate a 500k HP shield aura. Once their HP drop to 40%, they will eliminate themselves after their turn end. You will proceed to the next wave when all 3 Strange Head triggers this condition. In Wave 2, you will be fighting 2 Strange Heads and they have 50 million HP each. They will grant the auras at the start of the wave and also activate the following condition on the offensive. It will raises all forms of offensive stats, attack, brave damage, HP damage, speed, and turn rate by 50%. For every brave damage received, Strange Head will counter them with Counter Flatten. Counter Flatten is a guaranteed hit single target brave attack. It will inflict a 5-turn poison debuff. The poison effect scales off 50% of the unit's own max brave. As mentioned earlier, you can remove the counter mechanic by dealing its force weakness. To move on towards the next wave, you need deplete both of their HP to 0. In Wave 3, you will fight a single Strange Head with 120 million HP. At the start of the wave, it will activate the following aura: player's party HP damage dealt reduced. The aura will apply a field effect that reduces all your party's HP damage by 80%. It will grants the boss a 5-turn brave shield buff with the value of 1 million. As mentioned earlier, you can remove the HP damage down aura by dealing its force weakness. Killing the boss will end the fight. Now you have roughly a background overview of the fight. Let's cover a bit on the key utility that you need for the fight. As the boss will uses its dangerous KO attacks upon using its force ability or during its force time, it is important to bring units that can self-harm themselves or immortal units that set their HP to 0. Examples of such units are Auron, Queen, Zac, Glove, Dark Knight Cecil, Rinoa, Type 0 Jack, Liud, and Vivi. The boss can inflict debuffs with Doom-like mechanics, in other words, break will be triggered upon expiration of the debuff. Other than bring debuff evasion units, you can handle that with Brave refund mechanics, break immunity, prevent damage with shields or Brave floor. Examples of units that help in this regards are Leon, Ursula, Yang, Kor, Vaughn, and Alphanod. If you need to deal the force weakness, you need to deal dark melee brave damage. You can bring dark enchanters like Xanda or Shantato. Alternatively, you can use dark elemental FR like Dark Knight Cecil, Sice, or Enacross. You can also use non-elemental melee FR like Jack Garland or Machina and enchant them with dark enchant call like Xanda LDCA or Enacross call. To close up on the guide, let's discuss a bit on the featured FR unit, Dark Knight Cecil. Operating at low HP is generally thought to be undesirable and a risky strategy. But as the saying goes, high risk brings high rewards. Dark Knight Cecil has constant means of setting his HP low. He can self-harm his own HP with his S1, S2, and LD. His EX replenish one skill of S1 and S2 back. He can launch with his S2 and delays with his LD along with a 20% HP damage up debuff. His force ability will self-harm the party by 30% of his current HP. It will raise the HP damage and max brave cap by 20% when the party member's HP is below 100%. Before I cover on his burst aura, let's talk a bit about the force conditions for his FR. 1. Dealing dark ability will grants 20% HP damage bonus. You can enable non-elemental units with party dark enchant by bring a party dark enchanter like Xanda or Shantato with her BT aura. You can also enchant a non-elemental unit with dark enchant calls like Xanda LDCA or Enacross call. Do note that Enacross call only works on the caller unit. 2. The second condition will depends on the current HP of the character when they take their turn. If their HP is below 100% and above 50%, you will get 30% HP damage bonus acting on the turn. If the character HP is below 50%, you will get 60% HP damage bonus on acting on the turn. To ensure you meet the force conditions, you need to ensure your party HP is at low HP conditions. Having constant self-harm effects like Dark Knight Cecil's BT aura or Vivi Ember of Darkness follow-up will help to meet this. You can also pair Dark Knight Cecil with the self-harm units like Glove, Auron, Queen, Rinoa, Type 0 Jack or Vivi. Dark Knight Cecil can easily meet the full conditions, thus giving him 80% HP damage bonus per turn. However, it is not possible for other characters unless they have self-harm mechanics. This is where Dark Knight BT aura comes. Depending on your party's current HP, the aura will get stronger the lower the current HP is. Other than raising the brave damage cap, brave damage, HP damage, and max brave cap, it also grants a HP poison field effect that equates 12 times of Dark Knight Cecil's attack stats at the costs of 40% self-harm. You will heal back by the damage dealt by the unit. I have summarized the effect of the BT aura in the table on the screen. Personally, I feel this is one of the best utility BT auras. We are used to do boss no turn strategies, this BT can help a lot to amplify the damage potential. However, this comes with the risky of putting your HP below thresholds. As long as you can mitigate damage, you can use the BT aura to your full advantage. With this, I have come to the end of the guide. Hopefully, this will help you. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you are looking forward future content like this, please subscribe to my channel for future related content. Good luck and bye.